All right, let's get into it. Today we're looking at a fascinating piece of hardware called the Sovereign Deck. Now this thing is built for the tough, messy, real-world places that our modern lives depend on. It's designed to solve a problem most of us don't even think about. So let's find out why your fancy tablet, well, why it just can't do the job.
I mean, it's a perfectly logical question, right? We all have these incredibly powerful tablets. They're sleek, they're fast, they're everywhere. So why not just give one to a field technician and call it a day?
And boom, there's your answer. The devices that we love to use on our comfy couches or in a quiet coffee shop, they're just not built for the environments that actually keep our world spinning.
To really understand this, we need to talk about our infrastructure, the stuff that's all around us but is for the most part completely invisible.
Seriously, think about it. We're not talking about spotless, climate-controlled server rooms here. We're talking about the gritty reality. Dusty fields with agricultural tech, remote cell towers getting baked by the sun, and chaotic shipping ports. It's a world of invisible signals, heavy machinery, and constant exposure to the elements. So, if you're the operator on the ground trying to keep all this stuff online, you've got a unique set of problems. Your consumer tech is going to shatter the first time you drop it. You can't see the wireless signals you're supposed to be troubleshooting, and the sun, the rain, the dust, they are not your friends. You need a completely different kind of tool.
And that, of course, brings us to the hero of our story. A solution built from the ground up for exactly these hostile environments.
So here it is. This is the Sovereign Deck. You can just look at it and tell it's different. It's a ruggedized field terminal, and its whole purpose in life is to diagnose and repair networks out there, in the wild. It looks tough for a reason.
This chart really breaks down that tool versus toy distinction. Your normal tablet, fragile glass. The deck is IP65 rated, meaning it shrugs off water and dust, and you can drop it from over a meter. Ever try to see your screen in bright sunlight? It's impossible, right? The deck is a super bright 800 nit screen made for exactly that. And get this, it's got ports you haven't seen in years, like serial and Ethernet, because a lot of critical infrastructure still relies on them. Oh, and the battery? You can swap it out in the field. Try doing that with an iPad.
But the tough exterior is only part of the equation. The real magic, the absolute special sauce of the Sovereign Deck, is what's on the inside.
This is their whole motto, and it's perfect. It gets right to the heart of what this device lets you do. But how? How do you see something that's invisible?
The answer is something called a software-defined radio, or SDR. Now, don't let the name scare you. The concept is pretty straightforward. Instead of having a bunch of fixed hardware for different radio signals, an SDR uses software to tune in to a massive range of frequencies. It's like having a universal remote for the entire radio spectrum.
So here's what that means in practice. The SDR listens to all those invisible signals flying around. Your Wi-Fi, the long-range LoRa signals from farm sensors, cellular LTE signals, you name it. And it turns all of that chaos into a visual map on the screen. It literally lets you see the invisible. And what's really cool is that this is a custom job. They call it the CyberDeck mod. They take a rugged tablet, carefully break its waterproof seal, physically mount the SDR circuit board inside, then drill a hole for an antenna. To finish, they seal it all back up with marine-grade epoxy so it's just as tough as it was before.
Now, if you were to build one yourself, adding up all the parts and pieces, you'd be looking at a cost of around $740.
But the price for a professional to buy one, ready to go, is $1,299.
And that, of course, leads to the big question, where is that extra $560 going? Is it all just profit? Well, not quite. That price difference is where the real value is. You're not just buying a box of parts. You're buying the custom software, a special field edition of Kali Linux. You're getting their offline AI model. You're paying for the skilled labor it takes to do that CyberDeck mod, plus the calibration and testing to make sure it all works perfectly. And crucially for any professional, you're getting enterprise support and a warranty. Okay, so we know what it is. Now let's look at what it actually does. Let's talk about the deck in action. First up, a story they call the Ghost Hunter. Imagine a farm where wireless sensors keep failing for no reason. It's a total mystery. An operator brings in the Sovereign Deck, fires up the SDR, and immediately sees a giant spike of radio noise on the screen. Turns out, it's an old, unshielded water pump motor screaming interference. They fix the pump, and just like that, the problem that plagued them for weeks is solved in minutes. Okay, next case, the crop auditor. You're at a busy port, no reliable internet, and you have to grade a huge harvest of hemp.
Instead of waiting days for a lab, a consultant just uses the DEX camera and its onboard AI. It analyzes the photos right there, on the device, grades the crop, and even creates a secure quality certificate, all offline.
And for our last one, a true disaster recovery scenario. A failed software update has completely bricked a critical piece of network hardware. It's totally unresponsive. A modern laptop is useless here, but the operator pulls out the deck, plugs a cable into that old-school serial port, connects directly to the device's board, and brings the whole system back from the dead. That's a real lifesaver.
So, when you see these stories, you start to realize this thing is so much more than just a tough tablet. It represents a whole different way of thinking about technology.
And that quote just nails it, doesn't it? This is a tool, not a toy. Every single feature on the Sovereign deck, from that bright screen to the hot swappable battery to the SDR inside, is there for one reason: because someone in the field absolutely needs it to do their job.
And that really leaves us with a final big question to think about. We live in a world where our gadgets are sealed shut, designed to be replaced, not repaired. So what's the future for tools like this? Tools that are built to be opened up, to be modified, and to actually be understood by the people who use them. It's a pretty powerful idea. Thanks for tuning in.